Yes, it is what I'm calling relationship month, but every month is about relationships. When you wake up in the morning, you're thinking about something you have a relationship with. But today we're going to talk about your relationship with your job. Why? Because, well, you do have a relationship with your job, good, bad, or ugly. I think about the old saying of work life balance. Truthfully, it should be life work balance. You can't keep your mind on work 24 hours a day because something else suffers. I think about when I was younger and I had a job. I used to clock in about 8 o'clock, and I remember getting promoted to another position. And because I wanted to do a really good job, sometimes I would work to 8 or 9 o'clock at night. And this was before you could work from home. And a job I had required me to be in the office. And I would be there late at night, getting things done, making things sure things were right for whomever reports or whatever I had to go to. And I continued on that path. I did it because I wanted to rise through the ranks. I wanted um, things to be good, things to be better. I just worked myself and caused myself unnecessary stress. And I did it for years. I'm not talking like 3 or 4. I'm talking most of my life, trying to be the best, trying to be perfect, trying not to make a mistake. I had very little life work balance, but I definitely had work life balance because when you're putting your work first, and I'm not saying that you can't sometimes, but you got to be able to shut it down. What I've realized, and I'm learning more about myself, and a most recent job that I've taken is the amount of pressure I realize I put on myself. And it's so funny. It's not like I had not done that most of my life, but I have. I have put pressure on myself to be great at my job. And I remember, conversations with my manager and, making a few mistakes. There were days I would cry after work. Okay. There were several days in a row. I would cry after work, even at this point in my life, or just lay on the floor because I just felt like it's not working. Why isn't it clicking? But what I didn't understand on my job, there were so many moving parts. I really had not been active in the job long. I've been there a while, but the task and my responsibilities changed. So I was putting extra pressure on myself. I was frustrated. And she said to me, when you're frustrated, you're more likely to make mistakes. And she was right. But then I had to get to the point and figure out, okay, why am I frustrated? What is going on in the brain? And what I realized is I was afraid. There was fear settling in. I felt like I wasn't keeping up. So there was fear of not keeping up with everybody else. There was fear of making a mistake. There was fear that I wasn't getting everything. There was fear that I wasn't capturing every note that I needed when I had to learn something new. There was fear. There was fear. There was fear. Fear. I had to take a step back. And the great thing is I did. I took a couple of days off and I just had to refresh. And I made the decision when I go back to this job, I am pacing myself at Celeste pace. I cannot compete with anybody else on that job. I have to do it at my pace. And if I'm slower than anybody else, because I want to work in excellence, then I'm just slower. Also, I think about working from home. It's so easy to work past the time. And I did that a few times, but I finally realized that some things can wait till the next day. I couldn't contact customers after the time period or whatever, but there were things that needed to be done. But I've learned that, hey, it is 5 o'clock. Let me wrap up what I'm doing and I'm done. And it might take me till 10 after 5, whatever. Not a big deal. But I've learned to recognize and prioritize. When you are putting so much into your work, it can affect your health, which I may have said, your health, mentally and physically. I know it did for me. I was having shoulder pain, gut issues, because I was constantly stressed out all the time. Why? Over a job. And I'm thinking it's about something that I used to tell my reps when I was a supervisor. I used to tell them when they would come to work sick or not feeling well or it was a bad day or whatever, I would tell them, look, if you die today, they're going to push your chair to the side, move your body, and hire somebody else to sit in your spot. You've got to take care of you. This is the only body and mind that you get. You don't get a do over. Now, I know science is great, but at this point, you can't be reborn or remade, and you can't get that time back. So the question is, at the end of the day, what are you doing for yourself? Are you shutting down? Are you planning? Are you having fun? Are you enjoying yourself outside of your work? Time to think about that. What is your relationship with your job? What do you truly have going on with your job? Is it work life or is it life work? And I am an avid believer, especially for companies, because I see so much greed as well. It's all about the money and employees not being rewarded, but instead the higher ups are getting millions and billions of dollars instead of trickling some of it down. I'm not saying you got to give it all, but some of it. And doing things for the employees. I know there are budgets and restraints and all these other things, and I understand that because you do have to reinvest your money as a company to keep it going. But how are you treating your employees as a company? I believe a happy employee is a productive employee. And I believe that's why people were more productive when COVID hit and they got to work from home. Because think about it, they didn't have to really worry about daycare. Yeah, the kids were there, but they didn't have to worry about daycare, certain costs, certain requirements, and so forth. They were probably more relaxed because they were at their house. And I don't think there's anything wrong with going into the office. I don't think I'm advocating everybody should work from home because I think it's good to go into the office. But the balance for yourself is what it's all about. No matter what's going on at your company, how are you balancing your life to your job, not your job to your life? Sometimes you just have to take a breath and make sure you're not running a race at the wrong pace for the wrong reasons. And I guess I'm sharing this because I do work a 9 to 5, and plus I have my aspirations outside of. When I accepted this new position, one of the things I said was that this job will never come before the things I desire to do. I'm in the entertainment industry, more or less, and I do things outside of work, and that's what I want to do, and those are the things that make me happy. So that's my life work balance. But when I'm at my job, when I'm working, I give it everything I have, with relationships with the people I work with the job itself, and even with my customers. It's a choice. You have to make the choice on how you're going to manage and handle your relationship with your job. So that is a question. How is your relationship with your job? I am Celeste Jonay. Speak your truth, live with transparency. You will see the triumph.